I remember I was 19 when I started there, and I was telling him how I was going to retire in 20 years. He said, can we get that in writing? But like you say, you've got to have that marketable product of a weaned something. It doesn't matter what size. They've got to be weaned and they've got to have shots.
Yeah.
And it worked. It really did. I just say don't give up. If that's something you want to do, you'll figure it out and make it happen.
Welcome back to the Wealthy Cowboy Show. Before we get started, I want to give a shout out to Taylor Perkey, the man behind the scenes back here. If you need anything done like this, any media, Taylor's the man. Reach out to him. You can look up, what is it, Local Legends Lab, and get a hold of him. He does commercials, all kinds of media, but check him out. Today we got Andy Bowmeister. If you have anything to do with horn cattle, you've probably seen him. He's owned a salebarn, had a lot of horn cattle sales, roping cattle sales. He's an auctioneer, a lot of sales. How's it going?
It's good, man. Thanks for having me.
Yeah. I want to get in. I've worked for you for a while, known you a while, but we never get to sit down and do this kind of stuff, which is cool. But I want to know, I know you came from up north, so tell us your story about growing up there and coming down here.
How much time we got?
We got all the time you need.
It's kind of a long story. Come from Illinois originally. Moved from there in 2007. Kind of backstory, high school rodeoed. Always infatuated with auctioneering. Didn't get to do it as much up there. Sold for the first time at a horse sale when I was 12. We had a little local horse sale up there, and it was once a month. And I mean, I love to go there. Me and Grandpa, that's kind of what we done. We'd go to the sales, go to the horse sale, and got to where I would sell up there some, just sell some tack. And then high school rodeoed. After high school, tried the college thing for just a minute, junior college. That didn't work. I actually lived in Tennessee for a little while with my uncle, worked in Nashville.
Was there a lot of roping or ranching or anything like that in Illinois?
Where I was, it was lots of farming, lots of farm country, good black dirt. Not just a lot of roping, but in my little community, there was 3 or 4 of us that roped. And I think there were 3 roping pens within about 2 miles. So
really?
That worked out pretty good. And we roped quite a bit.
Was that like a family thing? Your family?
No. Well, yeah. My grandpa, he roped calves back in the day, but he loved catching loose cows with cow dogs like you.
Yeah.
I mean, he was all about the cow catching. And my uncle roped a bunch. And then my mom, she rode pleasure horses and stuff way back in the day. But not just a big rodeo area,
but horses were always around.
Lots of horses. We always had horses. Always had some roping steers around. Didn't have a big place or anything like that. Mm-hmm. But we definitely done the livestock thing. Lots of goats. We traded goats all the time and stuff. So that was cool. Yeah. So after kind of high school, like I say, go back to high school, graduate, go to Tennessee, work. That doesn't work. I get on with the power company. Had a union job, was in the line clearance deal. That was a really, really good job. Looking back on things now, that was a really good job.
Was this back in Illinois?
This is back in Illinois. Yeah, we're still in Illinois. Started there in 2001. And my dad had me, because it was, 20 years with a retirement, you could retire. My dad, I remember I was 19 when I started there, and I was telling him how I was going to retire in 20 years. And he said, can we get that in writing? And I remember writing it out. I was going to retire at the age of 39, and here I am 42. I'm not retired yet. But it was a really good job. It really was. Let's see, that would have been, 2001, 2002 or 3, I'd got laid off. Got called to go back to work. The Sunday before I go back to work, I was riding some horses. We were roping. I'd bought one at the sale that everybody was a little leery of, and he bucked me off, broke my collarbone, so I couldn't go back to work. Get called to go back to work, go to work. Not liking it at all. Just couldn't get in the rhythm of it again, and they had to do another layoff. I said, you want to lay off? Yes, please. lay me off. So that summer, had bought a bunch of roping kids and supplied the roping kids to all the rodeos up home, and that was fun. I mean, I enjoyed that. Boy that I rodeoed with, we were all hanging out at my house one day and swimming, hanging out at my mom's, I guess, and he was talking about having to go back to school, and he was on the rodeo team in Missouri Valley. And I said, man, I wish I would have went and done that. This would have been about '04. And he said, oh, let me call the coach. I said, golly, I'm 22, I don't think I'm going to do that. And so anyway, he calls the coach. Coach said, yeah, I got one more spot. And so I went out there and talked to him, and I had to retake my ACT or whatever it was. And but went out there and didn't go very long. I attended class, I think, half a semester and stayed a full semester, but it was good. It really opened my eyes to some things, and I enjoyed that. I really did. Met a lot of people, probably opened some doors, and then come back from that and ended up back at the power company. Got my job back at the power company and worked there 05, 06. Shot a few horses while we were off. Kind of got to do that a little bit, but nothing major. But
just kind of bouncing around, looking for something
to do, and actually lived with some folks when I come back from college. I'd forgot about that. Nick Rawlings, I don't know, the rodeo guys probably remember Nick. He rodeoed pretty hard for a while. Lived with him and his family. They had built an indoor arena up there, and his dad said, well, I'll put you up and we'll get you some work. He had a trailer business and sold trailers, and I delivered some trailers and just run around, and we roped. That's all we done. And then he graduated high school, and then I kind of shot some horses and then went back to the power company and then moved down here in '07.
What made you take the leap to come down here?
2006, rodeoed pretty hard, still power company, but made the Great Lakes Circuit Finals in '06. We had some big storms in '06. Should have made a lot of money, and I had to borrow some money to go to the Circuit Finals in November. And I can remember thinking, this is stupid. Why am I doing this? I either need to quit or go somewhere else.
Yeah, kind of had one foot in, one foot out.
I did, and I had a really good friend in Oklahoma, Gail Turner. We had traded horses around for several years at that time, and he had always told me if I wanted to come down there, he'd find me some work. And like I say, I had the little bit of shoeing that I could do. And my grandpa had a friend that lived in Illinois in the 70s. He's originally from Texas, Mr. Al Tiemann. And he lived up there in Danville, Illinois in the 70s. And him and my grandpa got to be good friends. And my grandpa said, well, let me call Al, see if Al's got anything going. Well, I'd met Al one time at a roping school in Tennessee for about 5 minutes. He brought a horse to a trainer, and he stuck around, and my grandpa and I, and we all visited with him. And that, like I said, that was the only time I'd ever met him. Well, he called Al, and Al knew a guy, Chris Paskett, had a shoeing business, but wanted to kind of work more on his barbecue business. Mm-hmm. And he was looking for somebody to kind of take over the shoeing. So in January of '07, I come down, kind of scoped things out, and went shoeing with Chris for a day or two. And he said, yeah, if you want to come back, we'll sure do something.
Yeah.
And February of '07, I moved back.
Was that a big, you'd been bouncing around your whole life, but would you say you're more of a risk taker like that? Was that a big deal for you to kind of make that, to move down here with not really knowing what was going to happen? Or if you own a business that sells a product or service in the Western or ag industries, and you want that business to grow, go to the link down below, fill out the form, and we'll see if you qualify for free social media marketing.
Looking back now, it's like, holy smokes, I didn't know anybody.
Yeah.
I come and stayed with Al, a guy that I had met one time when I was 12 years old, and I lived with him for 3 or 4 or 5 months, and didn't know a soul. That's why I look back on that now, 25 years old, and I didn't know anybody. I had a 01 Duramax that the injectors were shot. I got pulled over somewhere coming down in here, and they had me turn my truck off because it
clouding them out.
Yes, I fogged for mosquitoes everywhere I went, and I had a 4-horse trailer with a little living quarters in it that was about to fall apart. I had 3 or 4 horses, and that was it.
Yeah.
I mean, just wow.
I've had conversations with other people, and they said it was just hard for them to take the leap and whatever they're going to do, whether it was moving or starting a business or something. Everybody's kind of scared. I've always been a risk taker and a gambler, I guess, so I'm not afraid to go do it. And it's like, if you don't have anything to start with, it's not like it's going to get any worse.
Yeah,
you could always come back to what you were doing.
Yeah, and that's what I talked with my boss, and my boss, he was a good buddy of mine's dad and lived right there by us. And I told him kind of what I was going to do, and he said, well, if it don't work out, your job's waiting for you. So, I mean, what did I have to lose? I didn't have nothing, and if I was going to make the plunge, that was the time, and sure glad I did.
Yeah. I always think, just go do it, and then if nothing else, maybe you'll learn something, what not to do, or have a cool story to tell or something.
That's right.
Were you doing any auctioneer stuff then?
Man, I wasn't. I hadn't done much.
Kind of just wanted to rope, and you're just going to shoe some horses. And
yeah, I wanted to rope. Wanted to shoe some horses, but more wanted to rope.
Yeah, probably didn't want to shoe some horses, but you needed some money to rope.
That's right. That's right. I'm trying to think. I didn't do much selling up home there. After I went to auctioneer school, I got licensed in the state of Illinois, helped with a few equipment, estate type sales. But, when you got a job, most of the cow sales up there are through the week. And like I say, that was a good job. And my grandpa, he was in the union, operating engineer. So he was, they promoted that pretty hard for me to stay there with a good job. And that's what it took up there.
Yeah.
But it didn't help my auction career any. And I do remember I'd had a job one Saturday with a guy selling an estate sale. And I just got some fresh roping calves in, and we had some sick ones. And I can remember I needed to go, but these calves needed doctored. And anyway, I was a whisker late showing up over there, and he sure wasn't very happy. He said that them calves are going to cost you your auction career. And he never did call me back. But I kept my calves alive. So
yeah,
yeah,
I probably paid better than
it did.
the day wage at the auctioneer or whatever it was.
For sure, that one.
So what was it like when you got down here? You're shoeing some horses. Did you have somewhere to rope, or did you have some rope horses you brought?
I brought some rope horses with me, and go back to when I lived with Nick Rollins and them. Nick lived in Stephenville, so I would go up and hang out with Nick some, and we would rope. There wasn't just a lot of roping around Goldthwaite. That's kind of a little dead spot at that time, especially. So I didn't get to rope as much as I wanted to. I really didn't. I rode some horses, some young horses. Al was always about the horses and the young horses, and we did a little horse selling, and but didn't get to rope as much. I really didn't. Kind of then started focusing maybe a little more on the auctioneering. I'd got a job at Lampasas. That was one of the first jobs outside of the horseshoeing that I'd got, because Chris was barbecuing and had limited. I think we were shoeing like 2 or 3 days a week, and then I had 2 or 3 off days, and I went to Lampasas, and I got on at Goldthwaite, sheep and goat deal. And then Cowboy's got his equipment sale there, and I kind of got in with Cowboy, and that's how I got my auctioneer's license in Texas, was through Cowboy.
At like Goldthwaite and Lampasas, were you just kind of working in the back, or were you getting auctioneer?
No, I did not get to auctioneer any. At Lampasas, I'd work in the back, and then they'd have me come up and help in the ring. And I was a relief guy in the ring. Mm-hmm. And at Goldthwaite, helped sort on the bring up side for a long time, and then was actually the loadout man during the sale. Mm-hmm. Yep.
What was your mindset then after you moved? You weren't getting to rope as much as you wanted. You're kind of just doing odd jobs. Were you like, maybe this wasn't the right thing, or did you see the future there?
There was a few times, man, it got pretty tough. I can remember there was one week I'd worked at Lampasas. I got my check. It was $37. We didn't have many horses that week. I mean, and I remember being there with Chris, and he was saying how so-and-so had canceled this. I'm like, dude, I'm going to have to go home. I said, I've got to make some money. You know what? And he made a call and got me some, I don't know, 6 or 8 trims. He's like, there you go. Go do them.
Yeah.
And went and done those. And I can even remember there was some folks in town that had some trees that they needed trimmed. I went and bought me a chainsaw and started trimming trees again.
Yeah.
I mean, it just, whatever it took. And I'm glad I stayed. Like I say, I mean, knowing nobody. And it was a little different. And looking back on it now, it's just like, dang, I can't believe I stayed hooked, but I did.
I think that's like the second step is like you had the courage to make the first step, go out, go do it, make the move. And then it's not going to go well at first.
That's right.
You know, it doesn't for anybody. Any stories you hear, it's like everybody has big ambitions but there's a big struggle there for a while before things start clicking. And a lot of people just give up then and would go back.
It would have been very easy to give up. But I was sick of being up north. I was sick of the cold. I loved the area down here. I was getting to play cowboy. No, I wasn't getting to rope as much, but I was having just as much fun playing. Mm-hmm. But the money, I wasn't making any money.
Yeah.
You know. But then the shoeing had picked up. Chris actually had a heart attack that summer, and it picked up. I kind of had to take everything over and probably wasn't ready. Mm-hmm. But it turned out okay. It really did. I had a decent little shoeing business, and that was good. But then Jade and I got together there 2008, and her grandparents had that ranch, and they run some cattle, and then her granddad and I got to doing some things, and we were running a few yearlings for Graham, and that probably affected my shoeing business a little bit because it was a lot more fun to go dock the cattle than it was to shoe horses. That was probably about when the shoeing deal kind of changed.
When I know, like for me, like about 30, you know, I started kind of thinking like the future, like this day-to-day thing isn't building anything. So I need to start thinking about the future. When was the time where you started thinking that way?
Man, I really don't know.
Because you eventually built these businesses and stuff up. So at some point you had to think about it.
It has. And that's what, I'm trying to think. So in 11 during the drought, Dryce was born in 11 and Jade's granddad had passed away in 11. And they had the ranch and her grandmother had told me, you're going to have to take care of this for him. And so I did. I stepped in there and was working more on the ranch. And obviously the auction business and the sales was a passion. So I got to go into the sales and got to buying roping steers. I'd buy roping steers and sell them on Craigslist. That was before, I didn't even have a Facebook at that time. So I get to selling those, get to selling sheep. Got to buying lots of Barbados. That was 11's the drought. So I was going to Goldthwaite, buying sheep. I'd go to Hamilton and I'd buy sheep. We'd put them on Craigslist, and I got hooked up with a guy in Tennessee, and we're sending gooseneck loads at a time to Tennessee. I don't know. I sent 1,000 or better over there over, 6-8 months, a year. And during that time, I got to start auctioneering at Hamilton. And I trade a few feed trucks around and stuff, and I'd drive past a car lot every day or every Monday. And I thought, man, I bet I could make that work. So probably that was about 2013 when I decided the whole ranching deal, and trading, maybe we need to slow that down. My dad has always been in the car business, and I thought, let's try that. So went in, talked to him. It was for sale, and ended up getting it bought in 13 and playing the Andy's Autos.
Yeah.
I was not a car guy.
Yeah.
I was not a car guy. I liked the feed trucks, but it was hard to buy trucks that were right.
What was your plan there? Were you going to the auctions and buying some vehicles and putting them on the lot and selling and trading about anything?
Just about anything. Had a few lots finally that I'd found where I could buy their wholesale cars, and then I'd go to Manheim, Dallas, and I'd go to Alliance there in Waco, kind of hit a couple of those, and then the farm sales too. I got several. I'd go sell an equipment sale, and they'd have a few trucks back there or something. But I have pretty much zero mechanic ability, so that kind of made it tough on buying used vehicles too. There was always something need fixed.
And then if you got to pay somebody, then it takes all the profit out.
Yep.
Was that an everyday thing, or were you still auctioneering and doing all that other stuff?
So I would auctioneer on Mondays at Hamilton, but no, I was at the car lot pretty much every day. And we lived in Goldthwaite when we first bought it, but then that was in 13, and I think in 14 is when we moved to Hamilton and lived at Hamilton for a couple years.
So you were right there at the lot?
Yeah, we were right there by the lot. And at that time, didn't rope much. Just kind of tried to play the car lot game. I had rodeoed pretty hard that spring, January, or I was starting to CPR. Went kind of May, June, and actually had won a decent little bit. I was roping with Tyler Schaffner, and I had a sorrel horse that was really good, kind of a veteran type of horse, and he had got hurt, and I bought a black horse off of Cody Carter, Shrek, and just kind of cracked him out, and man, it was going good. And then he got a little sore, and the car lot comes about, and I quit.
Yeah.
Vegas, the sorrel horse, he was out for, I don't know, he was out a good while. And I turned Shrek out, and I just tried to focus on the cars.
Mm-hmm. You weren't trading any cattle or sheep or nothing?
No, I really wasn't.
Really just on the car lot?
Really just on the car lot. Yeah, I didn't.
How long did that go?
So I bought it in June of 13, and we moved back to Goldthwaite the first part of 16, and I think it was right at 3 years. I had it 3 years, sold it in 16.
What was your takeaway on that? It wasn't for you?
It wasn't for me.
Did you learn anything on that deal, or?
I learned I was way too honest to trade cars.
You're not a used car guy.
I couldn't. It wasn't me. And during that time, the rope and cattle sale had really picked up. It had gotten really good, and had got to moving some cows, moving some ropers, even more than before. Mm-hmm. And I just knew that was more me. I had bought a set of really good cows, what I called my keeping cows, and at that time, that's when they were crazy high. I'm like, this is what I want to do.
Yeah, like 15 or something.
Yep.
See what? I think I remember Rodeo Days video or Tyler's. It was like a rope and heifer bring like $2,000 or something like that.
Crazy. I can remember one of those sales. It was the June sale of 15. We had 2,500, and it went all night long. And I remember we'd sell the open heifers last. And I remember some open heifers bringing 1,600, just roped out heifers. And I'm like, what in the world? We had some first calf heifer pairs bring 2,400, and they just stayed hooked all night long with us. Mm-hmm. That was good times.
Yeah.
Good times.
The rope and cattle deal is completely different. You never know what trend it's going to follow. I can go sell my bred cows and buy pairs back for the same money or cheaper than the bred cows went for.
Yeah. It reminds me of the sheep and goat game. It's all about supply and demand. Mm-hmm. There's no board of trade. There's nothing. I mean, it is 100% supply and demand. Yeah,
and you see the trends, like everybody switches to the beef bulls, and then the ropers are in short supply, so everybody switches back to the Coriani bulls.
That's right. Yeah, it's a vicious cycle.
How long were you in that deal, in the rope and cattle deal?
So we had our first sale in 2012. 15, that deal had gotten really good.
Was when y'all started that in 12? Was that was like the only one around, right?
The only one started. I'd say that there was one that in Missouri, and it was more of a registered Longhorn sale, and then they would sell commercial cows and ropers afterwards, and that's kind of where I'd got the idea. And Jade's grandmother and I had bought 100 head of potentials, and I was auctioneering over there, and I went to him and I said, "Hey, I've got these potentials. Can we try and have a little special on a Saturday?" Yeah. And the first one was awesome. I don't even think we had 500.
Yeah.
But it was awesome. I mean, it was packed. And at that time, that was coming out of the drought, kind of. And I can remember some of them little potential heifers bringing 800. And they cost like $250 back there in the drought, and it's like, holy smokes, ain't never going to be another, 4 days, it was awesome. So they said, let's do another one. So we do one in the fall. And we kept it going, and it had gotten really good. And they got the biggest cut of the pie. Mm-hmm. And I can remember going to them and saying, hey, can we kind of divide this up a little differently? Can we get a little better cut? And I was told that I was making plenty of money. If I wanted to go somewhere else, go right ahead. So I did. I moved my sale to Meridian, and it was awesome. The first sale there, we had 3,400. And I was there for 2 years, and it was great. And Mike had sold that barn. And this, through sale barn drama, there was another barn that would rather have my sale. And he offered me a little more money, and so I took the sale to Dublin. And we were at Dublin for a year in 18. So we were Meridian 16, 17, Dublin in 18. And Dublin was good. JT was good. We had good times. But I don't even remember if you were it was the second sale there, the March sale. Their sale was on a Friday, so we had to change ours to Saturday, Sunday. Mm-hmm. And that was okay. I didn't like it as much, but
there's
it was
a lot of cattle there, not much room.
And we had us a church service on Sunday mornings, but that second one, I had 3,700, and he had 1,300 on Friday, so there's 5,000 head of cattle. We had 500 of the ropers at his feedlot there in town. And it was, and then I threw in the horse sale on top of that. We had the preview at Pepe's out there at the Millionaire. Mm-hmm. And I couldn't even go to it. Jade, she kind of took over that, and her and Sean Holden, I had Sean to come read pedigrees. I didn't even get to go. We were going to have the horse sale at like 7 o'clock. I don't think we sold horses until 9 or 9:30, and still had a bunch of cows. So it was a whisker tough over there.
Yeah.
With all that they had going on. And he built those pens, and it was good, but it was kind of tough. So I decided, I'm like, man, if I'm going to continue to do this, I've got to get my own barn. I didn't want to keep bouncing around. I just didn't. And so in the fall of 18 is when I went and talked to Hilton at Lampasas and just said, hey, would you sell it? And he said, yeah. No, okay. Then I had to go try and figure out how to make it happen.
Yeah.
And had a good banker and some people believed in me and got it done.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So we were there for 5 years. Kind of backed off the roping deal in about 18. No. 23. Was just kind of backed off of it. I don't know. I'm not going to say I got burnt out, but it just was different. After I got into the regular sale and the order buying companies and the payments showing up like clockwork when they'd buy their cattle, it made it, I don't know, a little trickier to have the roping sales. And the help, we'd get into those things. And with us having our regular sale on Wednesday and then trying to stay hooked and have that thing, and it was hard.
Yeah, there's a lot of labor.
A lot of labor. And then, the last probably 2 years, we just had them in conjunction with the regular sale. And I liked that better. Our numbers weren't as big, but I felt like we got the cattle sold just as good. And it went really well. And it wasn't just a man killer.
Yeah, I feel like there's a point there to where you're making the most money. Everybody's happy. You don't have to work as hard. And then you go past that, and it's like, then you just got a lot more overhead in it.
Oh, yeah. And that was, the labor on some of those things was just outrageous. Mm-hmm. And the ropers weren't bad. It's those 1,000 head of cows that every one of them's got to be palpated and sorted. And that's, staying there all night palpating cows, go lay down and come back and start palpating cows again. That's just, I think there was one day over there at Dublin, Gerald palpated nearly 1,000 cows one day. It was, man killers.
Yeah.
Man killers, yeah.
When the rope, I want to go back to when the roping deal started. Where would a guy go find ropers before the sales started happening, the special sales?
You know,
You just have to piece them
Ranford
around.
ads, yeah, and just kind of, that's why, I mean, the Craigslist, man, I sold, I don't know how many off of Craigslist.
Or you like that deal where you just putting them together for guys, like guys buying 10 head at a time? Or
Yeah, just piece them out.
did you have any like big producer connections that were like, hey, we need 100 of them? Or
Not before the sale. I really didn't.
you were just like, I think this deal will work?
I think, yeah.
I think that's like how everybody that's been on that's had a business, you know, it's how it starts. Like, I think there's a problem here, and I think this is the solution, and then go do it and see what happens.
Yeah. I mean, trial and error. Yeah, you got to try it. You'll never know if you don't try it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So back, y'all had Lampasas, weekly sale. You did the rope and cattle sale. You had the barnyard sale. I know that was Jade's favorite.
It was. Yeah, she loved it.
You'd sell whatever anybody brought, pretty much.
Pretty much.
But here recently, y'all exited that.
We did. You know, that was kind of a dream, lifelong dream to own a sale barn. It really was, and that was a cool one, especially because that was the first spot I'd worked when I come to Texas. I mean, but I knew when I bought that, cattle numbers were getting shorter in that area. Austin is moving. I didn't think it would happen as fast as it did. I really didn't. But after COVID, we had the boom, and that property's bringing crazy money. And I did have a realtor come to me and say, you know, hey, I might be able to sell that thing. So we talked about it and had some interest, but nothing ever come through. And I'm glad it didn't. But then last fall was trying to maybe kind of try and get ahead of the crash. 2 years of hard drought in that area, plus all the real estate being sold off. There's not just a lot of cattle down there anymore. I mean, there's really not. And
I thought we'd run out of cattle long before.
yes, yeah, exactly. And
we talked 2 years ago, I think, about what are we going to do here in a few months.
And then they'd keep coming.
Yeah.
But we had really started to see it this year. I mean, the numbers were getting shorter in that area. And just not a lot of people weren't really wanting to buy back either. So we did have another company that was very interested in just part of it. And we do a conference call with TxDOT about they're wanting to confirm their entrances and all this, and TxDOT pretty much shuts it down. And they say, no, we need that piece of property. And we've got it funded to put an overpass in there. And the company that I was talking with, they kind of got a little upset. They really, and why, you know? And then finally I kind of chimed in. I'm like, why do I know nothing about this? Well, there's a community-wide meeting here, and I can't remember. This is like 2 weeks or something. Like,
You were going to be the last to know.
yeah, you probably ought to be there. So I go to that meeting and look and finally find the pictures of our project, I guess you would call it. And a lady comes over and very nice, says, looks like you're studying pretty hard. Can I help you? And there was a red triangle on top of Lampasas Cattle Auction in the picture. And I'd found that red triangle, and it said commercial business relocation. And I said, you see that red triangle? I said, that's me. Oh, you're the cow guy. Come with me. And that kind of started that. We had a couple other meetings, and they're like, look, we know we screwed that deal up for you, but we've got to have that. We've got to have that. So they, I don't know. We proceeded with that, and it's now done. So, yep.
Yeah, it's kind of it was a staple for a long time, been there a long time, but that was where it's at. I mean, it's kind of inevitable that there's going to be something else.
Yes, and that prime location right there.
Mm-hmm.
And I've caught a little grief because, yeah, they would have relocated it, but it's still going to be in the same boat. There's still not any cattle, so it was just kind of probably don't need to do that.
Yeah,
we just need to kind of be done and go on to the next one, I guess.
Mm-hmm. I mean, y'all probably seen it coming that was going to happen, but
I did. I just didn't think it would be that quick. I really didn't. When I bought it, that was kind of what I thought. If I can make this thing go 15, 20 years,
it'd be worth a lot of money. The real estate.
Yeah. I mean, that was my thought when I bought it.
Mm-hmm. And in the past several years, I mean, you've built other things. You started ranching more. And have you ever asked yourself why it costs so much to get paid? Hey everyone, this is a show that has a lot of entrepreneurs and business owners on, and the number one rule in business is to get paid, right? If you own a business, there's a good chance you're overpaying for credit card processing, and there's an even better chance that you're getting terrible customer service. At Diversified Payments, we make the payment process simple for both the customer and the business. Being based in Central Texas, we're able to offer business owners personal customer service while saving them money on their credit card processing fees. And we're the only payment company that I know of that's deeply rooted in the ranching and rodeo industries. If you think you're paying way too much in card processing fees, or you can't get in touch with your payment processor when there's an issue, go to diversifiedpayments.com/wealthycowboy.
I had that thing started 19, and that's another thing, looking back, just like moving down here, looking back on when I bought that and what I knew about a livestock market and what went on, it was totally different than the roping cattle special, I can promise you. I did not understand, I don't think, what we do in Texas at a livestock market. You've got all the order buying companies that they're buying loads of stock, just matching stock, 5-weight heifers, 6-weight steers, whatever it is. They're buying a semi-load lot, and some of them get them straightened out here, some of them don't, and they're going north. That's pretty much all there is to it. You get you a load of like kind and send them bad boys north. And so through the auctioneer contest, had met a good friend, Jacob Massey, and he was always talking about straightening out these 2-weights. And I'm like, there ain't no, how are you making that work? He said, I'm telling you, it works. So Mr. Al and I told Al, and he said, let's try it. So we buy a load of 2-weight heifers, and we got them straight, kept them for about 120 days. And at that time, I hadn't even started the video sale, sold them direct. And man, they made money. It was good. And so I asked Al, I said, you want to do it again? And he didn't. He said, no, I got another little deal I'm going to work on. I really don't want to. Well, I bought 2 loads myself of the heifers, and good again. And I'm getting hooked. And the boys, Dryce likes it more than Declan, but both of them have fun. Who doesn't have fun doctoring yearlings?
Yeah.
It's just
especially 2-weights.
Exactly. It's the ultimate. So yeah, we've really kind of pushed that, and I love it. We've got more country now. I've kind of sold off all my cows, kind of let everything rest, and that's kind of the plan, is
just doing that,
to buy back more yearlings in the fall.
So what's your plan? Like, how big are they when you sell them?
I try and get them to 5, right around 500. And we got to there at Lampasas, build a load of them and then sell them on the video, and right there in Lampasas. And that worked awesome. It really did. And I appreciate everybody that participated in that, because it was good. But like you say, you've got to have that marketable product of a weaned something. It doesn't matter what size they've got to be weaned, and they've got to have shots.
Yeah.
And it worked. It really did.
And how are you selling them now? Are you selling them direct to a buyer? Are you marketing them somewhere else?
I sold some direct. I have, and have sent some to Oklahoma City. Ben Hale up there, he's good. He owns 4 markets and through the auctioneer contest and everything, I've got to know him, and he's helped. And like I say, we've sent several loads up there as well.
What's your procedure when you get those cattle in? When you process them, are you giving them anything? Are you starting to doctor on them right away, or what's that look like?
I like to keep them small sets, and that's kind of why we focus more on the little cattle, is because it works for our setup. I've got little pens, and then we can go to bigger traps, and then finally turn them out. And I'll get those cattle in, and I just don't even hardly mess with them for a day or two. Just kind of let them chill, feed them, and then we'll get them in and we'll process them. Bova Shield Gold one shot, that's my favorite. Some people think it's too hard on some of the little cattle, but I've got along with it really good. And then I've got to where we don't even give them black leg at first when we process them, but obviously worm them, and then I'll give them a shot of Draxxin, and then we'll turn them out and then get them back up in 30 days or so. And I've gotten now to where we buy the steers. So in 30 days or so, we'll get them back up, and that's when I'll cut them and give them the black leg, because it just, I feel like they get along better once they get a little strength and they get going. If we cut them when we get them, I don't have as much luck with it. Mm-hmm. And like I say, we're not big time. It's all enough that me and the boys can handle. So it works better for us. And I feel like the cattle get along really good.
Yeah. I've heard mixed deals. I know the last set of roping calves I bought, I was a little worried about them. So I haven't cut them yet.
Yeah.
You know, same deal, trying to get them straight. I know it's stressing them out 2 different times, but I felt the same way, to get a little weight on them, get them strong.
It a little better. Once they're already coming to that feed, that's like a comfort zone to them. They're going to come and they're going to eat, even if they're a little sore. To where if we cut them right when we get them,
may not want to eat.
Yeah, they're not used to coming and eating at that bunk anyway. So why would they start now that they're sore?
Yeah.
So,
what are you feeding them out of a feed truck in bunks? Or?
Yeah. Yep. We hand feed when they're in the little pens. Declan and Dryce, they get to carry buckets, and then when we get them out into the bigger traps, we use the feed truck. Mm-hmm. Yep.
How are you running those year round, or you kind of do it seasonal?
You know, last year we done it year round. Had some help. This year, we're going to be gone for the summer, so just kind of letting everything rest this summer, and then this fall plan to buy. Mm-hmm. Not going to buy in October.
Deathtober.
I'm going to take October off. Hopefully have some straight by October.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's tough. You get the hot summer months. I mean, that's hard on them. And then when you have 40-degree weather changes, that's hard on them too. So
yeah. It's kind of, last year we bought kind of starting in July, and those cattle done really good.
It's because they were already used to it.
They were used to the heat. Mm-hmm. Now the dust was hard on them. I had some eye problems and stuff, but the actual health was good, and I liked that. I really did. And then this last winter, we kind of Declan cut his thumb off there in November, right when I'd started buying, and we just kind of stayed hooked, and kind of November, December, loaded up, and the health on those cattle was really good. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
What are your plans moving forward?
Man, that's a great question.
Keeping an eye out?
I'm not sure. So, from back up home, I've always talked about the rodeos up there to the boys. Jade and I went up there and rodeoed when Declan was little bitty. Dryce wasn't even born yet. And we took 6 weeks, I think, and we went up there and rodeoed, and we had a blast. They have all those little fair rodeos up there. Mm-hmm. And so I've talked to the boys about it and told them that if the barn deal goes through, let's go up there and we'll take summer and just go play. And kind of through doing all that, we found a business, I guess you could call it, up there. It's going to be Jade's. It's going to be called Yellow Rose Equine. And it's a boarding facility, and that's going to be her. She, when all this deal kind of transpired, she's like, what am I going to do? Mm-hmm. She ran the office there for 4 years and was good, but doesn't really want to go run anybody else's office, and I don't blame her a bit, and she'd wrote tickets some, but just really wasn't what she wanted. And she's kind of got back into barrel racing and doing really good. And this could open the doors for her to be able, have the boarding facility and be able to still rodeo along up in that area. And we'll just go back and forth. But I still want to do the yearling deal. Been selling at Gatesville. I love doing that. Got on equipment deal, hopefully keep that deal rolling. So I see, be back here for sure. Take the summer off, and once we get back, I don't know, we'll see, but definitely auctioneering and cattle will be involved.
Yeah. Do you pursue the auctioneer anymore? Like are you wanting to go to extra sales or just kind of here and there?
I can't answer that. I really can't. I don't think my voice can handle the 4 or 5 days a week like some of them do. I don't know why. I'll get a little hoarse. I'm sure there's going to be some guys poke fun of me for that statement, but I do. I'll get a little hoarse. So to say I want to get 4 sales a week, no, I don't. But if I could get 1 or 2, I think that would be good. And then an equipment sale. But I do love the auctioneering and the contest. The contest is coming up this week.
That's what I was going to say. Yeah. You like going to the contest.
Yeah.
I guess you got to stay practiced up for that.
And that was kind of part of the deal. In order to go to the WLAC, you've got to have a sponsor. Well, Lampasas Cattle Auction has been my sponsor for 5 years. Mm-hmm. And I'd already qualified when that deal went down. But I talked to Jesse, my REO, and I said, hey, if this deal closes before the contest, is that okay? He's like, well, you got to have a sponsor. You've got to be selling somewhere right up to the contest. So Jody and I had kind of talked. I had sold over there, filled in 1 week, and had a blast. And then he had kind of mentioned wanting to do something with my customers, try and get recruit my customers. And so we had a dinner and to talk about everything. And I said, first things first, I need a sponsor for the auctioneer contest. Would you be willing to do that? And Jade said, really? That's going to be the first question? I'm like, well, that's kind of important. I got to have a sponsor. And he was totally fine with that. And then we proceeded to the real business. And it's been good. That market over there has been outstanding. We got all our buyers pretty much to go over there, mixed with his buyers. And you mix our cattle with his cattle. They've been having good runs, and like I say, that market has been outstanding.
Yeah, and he kind of combined 3 sales there.
Yeah, Waco too. Yeah. And we had a great group of buyers at Lampasas. We did, but I think I had 7 guys, and they all sit right in front of me, and I barely had to move my head. The other day, I had counted 17 calf buyers sitting at Gatesville. And that's not counting the guys that had 2 or 3 deals. I think 1 week there was actually 24 order buying companies that participated. You talk about have to sweep from one side to the other twice, you know. But it was good. That's what I had dreamed of, and I just could never make it happen. Mm-hmm. Yep.
So you're gonna keep pursuing championships, auctioneer world?
Yes. Yeah. I am still gonna continue
for the near future anyway.
Yes.
Who are your top 3 mentors that's helped you through your life?
My grandpa, he was awesome. That was the main one. To get me, he always wanted to come to Texas. Mm-hmm. Always. And he did, right, the winter before I was born. But he went back home. And so to say he helped me in the auction business or anything like that, no. But he promoted me to chase my dream.
Yeah, push you to come down here.
Mr. Al, he was really good. Helped me a lot. Like I said, he didn't know me and I didn't know him. First draw note I ever got, he co-signed. And so for sure, Al. And that third one, probably Jade's granddad, Raymond. He kind of allowed me to use the ranch and do a few things. And made me realize that's what I wanted to do. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
What's your advice to someone starting out on their own? Someone like you, what would you tell yourself, if somebody wanting to move, somebody wanting to make a change?
Don't be scared.
Yeah.
Don't be scared. I mean, just keep putting one foot in front of the other. Trust the Lord. And don't let anybody tell you can't. If it's something you want to do, you'll do it. You just got to make it happen.
Mm-hmm. What about like that struggle? When you came down here, did you think it was just going to all click right off, or did you?
I don't know what I thought.
Yeah.
To be honest, I mean, I don't know what I was thinking. But I knew I was going to try. That's all you can do is try.
Mm-hmm.
And I just say don't give up. If that's something you want to do, you'll figure it out and make it happen. And if it doesn't, it doesn't. But you'll never know if you don't try.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, like I said earlier, I think at least you can learn something from it or get a good story.
Yeah, exactly. I mean,
I say, say yes to everything, and then just kind of weed out the bad opportunities or the ones you don't like, and then not do those anymore.
Yeah, for sure.
The service level question I like to ask, what's your favorite restaurant?
Favorite restaurant? Man, I've got so many. I do love a good old Papados.
Yeah.
Yeah. Or Texas Roadhouse.
Mm-hmm. You can find those everywhere.
That's right. That's right. I don't know about Papados in the north, though.
Yeah. I don't know. I haven't spent much time up there.
I don't know. I don't remember ever eating at one of those till I come down here.
Kind of a treat down here.
That's right.
Well, thanks for coming on. Y'all go follow Andy on Facebook, I guess. Best place to find you.
Yes.
Keep up with them. Need to follow Dryce on YouTube. He's a little YouTube star, and you don't have it no more. TikTok now. TikTok, Dryce Bowmeister. Always doing crazy antics and stuff. Y'all check them out. Keep up with them. Big changes coming. And y'all like and subscribe and share this out. So we'll see y'all next time.